because I was about to record a burn alert, and I ran it by Bratlet over here, and he said, "Why not do it? Why not do it live?" So my first live burn alert. You poor things. You get to see how sweaty and miserable I am after a workout live. How do you feel about it? You're like, our numbers are going to go,
yeah, pretty much.
Crap. Well, listen, but speaking of burn alerts, how much did you do? What exercise did you do?
I did a 20-minute full body, like, ow! Expert exercise thingy.
Really? So 20 minutes of working out? Nice. Poor Baz didn't actually want to be a part of this, so I should let him go.
But, I'm going to head out.
All right, go. You go talk to your friends. Thank you very much for setting it up, Mr. Broadcaster.
All you have to do is click on stop streaming and
Got
then
it.
press Are You Sure?
I will do that. Thank you very much. All right, so I should tell you that this is a burn and learn. This is my bit to stay alive and fit long enough to raise my amazing son and to enjoy the coming twilight years with my brilliant, gorgeous, and fantastic wife, Jane. I hate exercise. It's boring, so I like to learn something while I'm doing it. I like to share what I've learned with you in the sweatiest, most miserable, self-indulgent way possible. Thus, these videos. Now, of course, that's my normal preamble that I do on YouTube. It feels so weird actually doing it sort of live. So, yes, there you go. So, Ugly Pig Beast, hello. K. Michael, hello. Emad, hello. Jack Jastra, greetings to you. And Commander Azd, we got Darling Clementine. Oh my gosh, I can't even go. There's too many darn people. So I thought, I just thought, you know what, I was going to record something, and then I was going to put it on YouTube, and then probably end up coming here at some point anyway. So I thought, why not just keep it consistent, keep it in one place. I can always post this later to YouTube for those who prefer that. And we've got this lovely Stargate set up. I just feel like I should be using that while I can. So so let me rattle on for a bit, and then I'll leap in and ask questions and stuff. So so first off, burn alert today was 70 minutes, 70 minutes on the torture device being the elliptical, and I hate it more than anything else. But what it does allow me to do is to actually learn something while I'm doing the horrible torture that I find to be exercise. And I don't know why I feel the need to talk to people after the fact, looking at my absolute, well, maybe not my absolute worst, but certainly definitely not how I would normally be seen. But it's funny, it started off as these, I really started putting them out there so that I could be guilted into doing the exercise, because I just found that I wasn't doing it, and I would, periods of time would go by, I'd let it slide, and there's just no excuse, because I just have to go downstairs and do it. So I thought by posting a video, at least, one or two people might notice that I hadn't done it, and I might feel guilty. So so I started doing that. But then I discovered that, strangely, people, I don't know, I guess we are social beings. People seem to have sort of, they started sort of enjoying the fact that they could sort of share in my misery. And I've even heard tell that a couple of people have actually started exercising themselves, which I think is probably good, because especially now, we got to look after ourselves, because, the stronger we are, the more likely we are to be a help rather than a hindrance to this crazy, troubled sphere we live in right now. So the learning part for me today, I'm plowing through this amazing data science course. They call it sort of data scientist, and it's LinkedIn Learning, which I don't know about, certainly in Toronto, if you're signed up for a library card, you have access to all this stuff. Not the resources, but you have the videos, and I, of course, discovered that after I'd paid vast amounts of money for many years to lynda.com and then to LinkedIn. But I don't begrudge it, because I've used it so much. I actually prefer it to watching television in many cases. So doing the data scientist stuff today, really into sort of like the visualization of data, or as they say, the storytelling of data, which is a little misleading, because I always feel like storytelling in data, it feels a bit like that means you're fixing the numbers or something. But it's just the idea of how do you take traditional narrative, traditional approaches to storytelling. There's a great, he talks about Kurt Vonnegut doing this fantastic chart about how stories progress and how they're built. And then how do you use those same kind of tricks and stuff to sort of captivate an audience and point them in the right direction and then tell them your story. And obviously the idea is not to sort of falsify anything and not to let your story get in the way of the true data, but how do you take this data and turn it into something that people can understand, both at originally basically at a top level, and then if they're interested, they drill down. And the funny thing about it for me is that this ties very well into my Tech Bandit stuff, because I believe that the way I was educated, and a lot of kids sort of struggle with the educational system, the sort of traditional educational system, is that we dive straight into the data. We dive straight into the boring little text, and we forget those cool headlines and those eye-catching graphics. And so I really feel like if you can inspire people with a way of almost like selling or pitching, and I would say that making the Hollywood version of the science, technology, engineering, arts, and math stuff that you want to sort of teach people. And not really teach. I don't really teach. Teaching's the wrong word. Inspire, basically. I just want kids, maybe educators, maybe parents and stuff, to get excited about this stuff, because I find it absolutely fascinating, all this science, technology stuff. So I thought, well, if you can inspire them first with these crazy big ideas that they may not understand entirely, at least it sparks their interest, and then you can sort of drill down from there. So it was very sort of satisfying, a very I told you so kind of satisfying to find this data scientist or this data storyteller talking about how that is how we should be working with data as well. So really interesting burn and learn. And again, the real key for me is I don't think I would exercise without, I wouldn't do the burn without the learn, because I know this is ridiculous and it's a stupid way to think, but I feel like if I'm exercising, I feel like I'm wasting time. I literally feel like a hamster on a wheel. I feel like I'm wasting my life. Whereas if I can be learning something while I do it, I come out of it feeling amazing, possibly because of all those, the dolphins or the endorphins. My son used to call them dolphins. All the endorphins rushing through my body, I'm sure makes a big difference for the first 5 minutes. Then I crash and turn into a shivering wreck, which you'll see probably. You'll probably witness it live. But the idea is I come out of it and I just feel like it's not wasted time at all. I feel both fit physically and slightly more mentally. Anyways, I highly recommend it myself, especially if you're cooped up indoors right now. Bratlet does not like exercise. He takes after his mother on that. So I say, look, if I can do an hour and 10 minutes, you can do a bloody 20-minute workout. So he did that. Good. I mean, I'm not sure how well he did it, but at least he tried, and I appreciate that. So there's that. There's one more thing I also want to mention as well probably a million more things, but before I dive into our chat, and I'm sorry to ignore it, but this is me. This is my time. Because normally, again, I would be videoing this and then putting it on YouTube, but I feel the need to sort of vent after these things. I feel like I kind of got tricked a bit. There's a lot of stuff online about these N95 masks. I mentioned it before about how these DIY masks, and we could do N95 masks, and we could sort of save the world, and we're going to be 3D printing and sewing things and all that kind of jazz. I had a really great chat with Phil, with Bad Astronomer, whose first response I sort of was taken aback a bit by it, but I realized in thinking about what he said, how important it was. He's like, well, how is it validated? What's the medical? Was there any data behind this stuff? And I was like, well, that's not the point. It's better than nothing. We're gonna save the world. And then I sort of went away and started thinking about it. And I mean, I totally understand his perspective. My thought was like, okay, well, this is a real scientist. This is like someone who's obviously his entire reputation is based on this stuff. I'm just a freaking pretend act. I'm a pretend scientist. So if I get it wrong, it's expected. It's like I'll be the Gwyneth Paltrow of space. But I get passionate about these things. I get excited about these things. If it makes common sense to me, I like to pursue it. So apparently, a number of these N95 masks, pure bunk, doesn't make any sense. They're not, the sterilization isn't good. The hospitals can't take them. What I have discovered is that there's a they call it a PPE drive. For some reason, that makes my son giggle. Which is, I I guess, personal protection equipment. That's my guess. At a local hospital here, and what they're looking for is they're looking for real masks, like sealed masks. They're looking for unopened gloves and stuff. And of course, I can't help with any of that because I just don't have anything like that. I do have some gloves and even a couple of N95 masks, but they're old. They've been used, and honestly, as I talked to my father about it, who's a doctor, and he was saying that, you know, an old open mask, unfortunately, can have all sorts of bacteria and stuff in it. It could possibly do, potentially, I hadn't thought of it, but more damage than good. So I was chatting with him because he's given me a big grocery list. He's stuck at home because he just came back from the UK, so I gotta do some grocery shopping for him at some point. Although I think I might be able to order it and then pick it up, which would be really cool because I hate all that. I've never liked grocery shopping anyway. So so there's that. So I feel like, I hope I haven't steered anybody wrong with this stuff. There are some face shields which sound amazing. I just don't have the equipment or the tools to do that. I mean, I have a 3D printer. It's amazing, but it's just, I'm not going to be able to do the number of them, and I'm not going to have the quality control that the medical doctors would need. So I feel my best contribution is to stay at home and stay out of the way. Possibly help out with a little bit of childcare, because what I've been doing is this Tech Bandit stuff. I'm hoping to maybe relieve some parents of a couple of hours of their kids' time with some sort of fun, very irreverent, possibly educational, but mainly just keeping them busy with some fun stuff that relates to science and technology. And also just getting the word out about the stuff that is valid, the stuff that I can validate, the stuff that is official, like this PPE drive. So let me grab a link for that, actually, so you've got it. This is just for people in Toronto. I mean, I figured I would concentrate on the local stuff first, and see what I can do with that. PPE drive. God, I wish I could remember the name of the hospital. Damn it. I think it's like MGH or something. MGH Hospital. Those are the words that stick in my head. It's the Michael Garron Hospital. There you go. So Michael Garron Hospital. Let me just look that up. Michael Garron Hospital, PPE drive. There you go. Although the funny thing is, it takes so long to get to the actual link for it. But let me try to find that for you. Oh, for God's sake, where is it? Oh, you know what? I might have it in my chats. Let me have a look here, because I've been talking to a doctor about this, and she was saying that this is basically the only stuff that's been sort of validated for their things. Here you go. So I can do this. I can copy that, and I can put this in the stream, as my friend Jack Jastrow would say. So there you go. So that is the drive. Again, I don't know who's going to be able to help on that, because I mean, I don't know who's going to have stockpiled a number of like unopened boxes of non-expired gloves or masks with vents and all that kind of stuff. But you never know. Maybe there's some companies out there. Maybe there are some businesses, or maybe you're associated or know somebody or related to somebody with a business that could help with this kind of stuff. That'd be amazing. There's a company here. I don't know the name of it. If anyone wants to look it up, that'd be amazing. There's a gin company in Riverdale where I live in Toronto, and they've converted their operation from gin to, well, I don't know if they've converted it, but certainly a portion of their operation is being converted to hand sanitizer. So they've just distilled. My Tech Bandits were telling me that 60% alcohol and above is apparently enough to kill the virus. What I did find interesting was that while that's incredibly effective, like 99% or something, you can do even better if there is some kind of I believe it's a surfactant. I may get that wrong. The idea is that something that breaks down that lipid sort of shell of these viruses and exposes all that RNA or whatever it is that's in there, and then you can just sort of wash it away. So apparently that will help if you mix the two together. And there's all sorts of videos out there about that kind of stuff. But honestly, I'm a little concerned about the DIY stuff, because I know we need to sort of jump into this and be creative, but at the same time, I feel like, you know, we got to make sure that we're not making dumb decisions, that we're not giving people a false sense of security, that you know, that we're helping, not hindering. So that's why I've been pushing the PPE stuff. That's why I am sort of going to withdraw my passion and joy at this whole 3D printed N95 mask thing. And now let me look at the chat. I'm sorry, I don't mean to ignore you so long. Have I covered everything? I think I've covered everything. Yeah. Tech Bandits, working on some more of that. I think I'm going to try to alleviate a couple of hours of parent time this week with some more of that. I have been chatting with Let's Talk Science, which is really cool because they've got a whole bunch of stuff available that they're going to make available online or make more conducive to sort of working online. So there you go. All right, thanks for being so proactive about all this, says Darling Clementine. I don't know about that, I think I'm a little late to the party, to be honest, darling, but I'll try. Hey, Third Eye Storytelling just got home from the day job. Very good. How did that go? D-Stat, thank you so much. Need anything else for Tech Bandits? No, that's great. Look, I'm really looking forward to getting that motor controller so I can start showing them some video of playing with that. I'm even wondering about if I can get the webcam out there. Maybe they can sort of feel like they're a part of the process. But we'll see. Although something kind of neat about a remote control wheelchair when we're worrying about physical distancing. They're saying use physical distancing as a term instead of social distancing, because social distancing sounds like we're not allowed to talk to people. And God knows I've talked to more people since I've been cooped up in here than ever. I talk to my dad more, my mom, my sisters. It's crazy. It's too much, I say. Actually, I'm supposed to have a virtual coffee date with my friend at some point, so I may have to bail for that at some point. But Commander asked, how long have I had my Prusa? God, it's got to be 4 years now, something like that. I mean, something like a long time, and it is still spectacular. I mean, now I don't feel guilty anymore. I was feeling so guilty about printing Stargates and thinking that I wasn't helping, and now I realize that I was more chance of me killing some medical profession with my shoddy medical workmanship. So now I'm back to the printing this Stargate. But look at the quality of this print is just, and that's not even that's like optimal. That's not even the best print. And I have a number of extra little parts that I'm going to put together. I mean, like this is, I got to say, I quite like our little disco gate. I mean, I'd like it to be more, to spread the LEDs out a bit right now. But this should allow me to have some fun with it. The parts that I find the most difficult to deal with are these little chevrons. These little chevrons here are supposed to be, this is obviously supposed to be see-through. These little slits in there, but trying to get in there and carve out all that filler material is very, very difficult. I keep snapping them, so I don't know. I mean, I may have to bite the bullet and get a little Dremel or something so I can sort of drill it out. I have this fantastic Dremel for bigger pieces that the pet one that Christina sent me, but I think I may need a little more precise tool to dig out this stuff and get this thing working. I have to pitch that to my wife as a necessary quarantined purchase. I've also got to run by. I'm looking at this as a Black Magic. It's called Black Magic. The guys who make these amazing cameras, I shouldn't say guys. These folks who make this amazing camera, they make a little switcher system where you can plug in multiple HDMI's and you can sort of fade from one to the other and all that kind of stuff. So boy, have I gone off topic. What was the question? I've had the Prusa for a while. I love it. I freaking love it. I sound like a bad broken record about this stuff, but Prusa's built an amazing thing, and he's also built an amazing company. He's doing amazing work. He's the guy who has converted a portion of his factory into so the polymer division of his 3D printing company is now. Sorry, it's not a 3D printing company. He builds 3D printers and sells kits and full printers. But he's converted it to hand sanitizer and just a general spray sanitizer using his chemists there. And he's also shipped. I can't remember what it was. What did he say? Let me just go check, because he just checked in with me the other day, because he was feeling a bit grim the other day, and he got in touch and said that he was he was feeling sort of worried that we weren't taking things seriously enough, if that makes sense, which I entirely buy. But it was something crazy, like 4,000 masks. I don't see it here, but it was like 4,000 of these face shields, and the idea being is he couldn't figure out an N95 mask that was going to be safe. So he thought these shields, from the doctors he spoke to, the shields seemed like a great way to sort of like, basically those salad things, those things over the sneeze guards from the salad, you get them over your face, and that can stop some pretty nasty transfers of infection through sneezes and that kind of stuff. So, all right. Commander Ask says, I have an MK3 that I upgrade to MK3S and has some other custom parts. Oh, that's cool. I don't have the MK3. Mine is the MK2. I mean, I've had it like a long time. I should build my Mando helmet for my mask. Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. I think you could really have some fun with those, with the respirator type stuff. But again, you want to be careful that you're not causing more trouble than it's worth. I mean, the nature of this disease is that once it hits you with itself, you then get taken on by your own immune system. So the virus comes in, removes the protective layer in the lungs, and then in comes the normal bacteria that you can normally just sort of cough away with a quick flu, and it takes you down. So that's the concern. The face shields prevent high-speed impact of viral-laden fluids against masks. Thank you, Pac Mom. Do you use them? You must be using that kind of stuff while you're in the dentist office, right? Isn't that right? I have a need for the helmet. Just is. A helmet would be good if you fall into a virus. Yes. Hey, Arclight, how you doing? Hello back. General Thane. If you play Halo, there's a custom Atlantis map. Really? There's a custom... Oh, because Baz and I used to play Halo all the time. A custom Atlantis map for Halo. Wow. I feel like Stargate around the lens might... Was that where we were at? I missed that. Could be put to better in a different focus? What? Sorry, what? I don't quite get that. Chishui. Yes, I'm sure it can be done better. My hope is, again, by building... this baby over here, I've got like, let me just see some of the parts I've got working here. So I've got a slightly prettier version here that will have like rotating pieces and stuff that I'm working on. That'll have servos and lights and all that kind of stuff. So I really, to be honest, this is a hot glue mess right here that I put together because I just wanted to put something up. I'd been meaning to play with it for ages. It allows me to run this little Easy Robot LED. For want of a better panel, it's a panel of little LEDs, and you can program it using the Easy Robot software. And so I just came up with a little puddle jumper routine that lights it up. So yes, it could be handled better. Yes, thank you for the production tips. And I'm working on it, for God's sake. It's the end of the world. I don't have so much time. Opticum 842. David, even though you might have pretended to be a scientist on SGU and all the tech guys from TV series inspired a lot of people, even though you made it seem easy to hack some ancient tech, it's true, with a USB cable, it always made it seem interesting and try new stuff, and don't be afraid of that. Oh, thank you. I mean, that's... I think one of the greatest joys I get out of Stargate is people coming up and saying, like, I'm an astrophysicist. It's people saying it really badly. It's people saying, I'm an astrophysicist, and it's because I watched you on Stargate, or I'm a biologist, or I'm a whatever, like, whatever they're into. They get into the sciences because of this, and that's sort of why I started doing the Tech Bandit stuff, is I really wanted to continue that. I feel like there's... when I grew up, there was Doctor Who, and Doctor Who aired with these little sort of after shows before they sort of formalized them into all these other ones that are out now. But and they were a science show that tied scientific learning, discovery, and exploration into these wobbly alien Doctor Who episodes. And so for me, they were inextricably linked, the science and the science fiction. I think that's where the joy comes from. I showed the kid Explorers last night because that was one of those movies for me that I was like, I want this. Like, I want to build stuff and put computers in it and make it fly. And I think that there was a great guy I think it was Connor from OpenBCI, who said that the first stage of engineering is dreaming. And that's what science fiction does for us. So it's the first stage of engineering. I thought that was great. I was like, yeah, I never get past that dreaming phase, but no harm done. So yes, thank you for that. David, when you say printing, does that use the filament stuff? Yes. Seems like such fine detailed work for the filament. Oh, and one of my dental scalers might clean out those fine areas in the prints. I have welders begging me for scalers all the time to remove slag. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. So look for an old dental scaler. That's interesting. I mean, the Dremels are fantastic, and I keep meaning to get like a full Dremel thing set up, but Mr. Deadly Eugen is scared of lemons because of me. Thank you. Some people go on to become astrophysicists. Other people develop a unnatural phobia of lemons and citrus. Rodney could run a whole city ship on solar panels. Damn right, K. Michael. Karem, I'm a little sad we never got a chance to see Rodney play the piano. Oh my God, could you imagine if they actually made me do that? I did piano lessons for years as a kid. And our piano teacher was a smoker, and he would fart all the time. I just have this, whenever I sit down at the piano, I have this sort of like flashback to this stinky guy beside me, farting and smelling of cigarettes. So it really didn't have that classical appeal that I loved. I always wanted to play saxophone. I used to have this massive, what was it? Was it the alto? No, the alto was a small sax, tenor. Yeah, I think it was the tenor sax, this giant saxophone. Someone can correct me on that if they know. And I loved that. I used to play that. But then I had to stop playing because I used to get beaten up on the way home, and I couldn't run fast enough with this giant saxophone. Very kind of sad in a way. There was a group of kids who lived on the corner, and they used to beat me up, and so I stopped playing saxophone. I never told my parents. I stopped playing saxophone not because I didn't like it anymore, but because I couldn't run fast enough holding this damn saxophone. I was terrified of having them get this saxophone because if they did, it was worth hundreds and hundreds of dollars because it's a big brass thing. So I'm particularly mean about bullies with my child now, I should say. Oh boy, okay, so Shui has gotten in touch with the military because of Stargate, and if Corona hinders me joining the German Navy as an officer candidate, does this count? But Stargate had a great impact on my childhood when I was in a really dark place. Well, that's good. Thank you, Tashumi. That's good to know. I mean, it's look, the beauty of science fiction is that, and the beauty of, I thought, Stargate specifically was that, it was. Yes, it was science fiction, but it was about these characters. And it was about these characters in sort of today's world, which of course dates so fast, doesn't it? It was so funny watching the pilot the other day. And for anybody who didn't watch it, I think it should be on here now. We watched part 1 and 2. Both of the videos should be available here. If not, they are on my YouTube channel. So, Harklight, what corp address can I send you some PC parts? Well, look, people have been sending it to the office, and that's worked pretty well. I just don't know if things getting through anymore. The biggest issue, Harklight, is the duties. People are very kind and they send me stuff, but then I get these massive fees to have things go across the border. It seems the Canadian and Americans really enjoy just gouging people for sending stuff across a border that doesn't need to be there. So do be careful with that if you don't mind. Otherwise, I'll go bankrupt trying to accept gifts. I mean, I've had a couple people send some really very generous things, but unfortunately, they've also cost me a lot of money that I wasn't planning on money I didn't plan on outlaying because of these duties and stuff. So I did discover that if it's used stuff, or stuff that can be labeled as used, as long as it's labeled as a gift under, I think it's like $15 US, there's no duties on it. So that's something to consider if you want. I mean, don't lie, don't get in trouble or anything. But I'm just saying if you can keep it to, if it's reasonable to believe that this stuff is used and not of great financial value, then definitely keep it under $15, and that's very helpful. Let me throw the address in here. So it's care of, you'll like this, care of my company, or it's basically Jane's company, Monkeys and Parrots, and that comes from my dear father-in-law, who's no longer with us, I'm afraid, Don Lohman, who used to, every time you went to leave the house, he used to drive us crazy. Every time we leave the house, he'd say, pick up your monkeys and your parrots and fall in facing the boat. And it was an old army term that he sort of, that he just acquired during the Second World War and used on us all the time. He literally used to drive me crazy. He's like, and then of course when he died, you realize how lucky you were to have them around, and so we were trying to come up with a name for a company, and we wanted something that would somehow, I wanted to do something that was sort of reminiscent of his impact on our lives and stuff, and just what a lovely man he was. So we came up with Monkeys and Parrots, and I love it, and I also love it because it's kind of like being called Rainbow. People always want to know where the name came from, and so I thought that was kind of lovely. All right, we are 94. God, what is it? What is our address? Business address? Jesus. Will I be able to find it here? Maybe. Yes. Okay. Yes, it is 94. Okay, so 94 Dearborn Avenue, Toronto, Ontario, M4P1K7. How is that? Oh yeah, you should probably put to me, care of Monkeys and Parrots. How's that? David Hewlett. There you go. All right, I think that's everything. And then why don't I give you... Yes, and I'll give you the company number just so you got it. 99. Now, no one will answer this number, just so you know. The phone number, no one's going to answer. It's an only messages. It's purely just for, so there's a number for deliveries. There you go. And don't send me toilet paper. There's no toilet paper shortage. It's coming. You just have to wait. God, it's so funny. What is it, Happy Hedgie? Are you already... Happy Hedgie's already hitting uptime. Wants to find out how long I've been nattering on for. There you go. So that's my... Excuse me, that is my address. Well, not my address, but the address of my company. I can go and grab stuff from there. If I'm allowed out, that is. Sorry if my messages sometimes doesn't make sense sometimes. I'm using my phone and tend to write fast, hence I forget words. No worry, Tashui. I have no such excuse, and yet I also don't make any sense at all. So what do you got? Have I missed anything else? Anyone want me to, Nightbot knows. Jack Jasra, by the way. Jack, put a link to your stream in here. Why don't you? Jack is a friend of ours who does all of our artwork. So if you like the Iron Ham logos, if you like the Tech Bandits logos, if you like our little emojis, I'm not so hip. Then he's the man to follow. You should watch what he gets up to on his channel, because he does all of his art like live. And yes, Jack, we must. I feel bad I haven't got back to you. We must do a stream together again, because Jack's got a bunch of new ideas. He's got like little face masks and stuff for our bandits or our Iron Hams or whatever, and so it would be kind of fun to sort of. It's always fun to watch him work, frankly. Plus, he talks to himself and makes all these little mumbly noises, and it's just kind of funny to watch. You're welcome, Jack. Anytime, buddy. I am in awe of your talents and your kindness, my friend. How is Baz doing, by the way? He's doing good. I mean, he slunk out of here pretty quick, didn't he? He was very kind, though. He set me up, because this is all on his computer at this point. All of this streaming stuff is on his computer. Ooh, I should ask you about that. Okay, so here's the deal. I need to do a lot more streaming, obviously, from here. I've been approached by, actually, strangely, I've been approached by, it seems what I do is now all of a sudden of value to people. It was, nobody gave a whatever before, but, and I didn't care, because frankly, this was my escape from the film industry. Of course, now they're approaching me about doing stuff, live stuff for them. And I'm a little reticent, I must say, because I just don't want to, I don't want to jeopardize the fun and the joy that I have with this, and I also want to make sure that this is focused on Tech Bandits. But I think there may be a way to make the two of them work together, which would be kind of cool, and maybe even tie in Let's Talk Science. But I need to kind of up my game a little bit, and so I really want to get. I need to do more I need better sort of capture cards. In that I need to have multiple cameras. What is a great way of having multiple cameras attached to the computer with the minimum amount of fuss and expense? How's that? I'll throw that out there. If anyone's got any cool ideas, or they know of any people that they're following online that do this well, I would love to know. What the deal is on that. What's this? We care. Oh, we cared. Thank you, Mdu. I'm not saying nobody cared. I mean more the industry. It's so funny, the blank stares you get when people say, they say, what are you working on now? And I say, well, I'm doing Tech Bandits with a bunch of kids, and I do a lot of streaming stuff. And they just look at you like you're mad. Of course, now they're all like, you know that streaming stuff? Can you sell stuff? And I'm like, no, I can't sell stuff. It's not how it works. I'm not going to sell your, it needs to be very different than that. They're used to just sort of creating product and getting it out there. And I'm like, this isn't product. This is a community. Like, it doesn't work like that. Anyway, so it's interesting. What do you got? Magwell capture card, though, it's a bit pricey. Check out Live Streaming Pros. Okay, great. Thank you, Digital Senior. I'll do that. 4 DMI inputs at once. That's cool. Well, that's the Blackmagic one. Like, the Blackmagic one looks amazing, but I don't know how expensive it is, and I haven't seen them available at all. I'm assuming everyone's buying them right now. DStat, do you want me to get you a full streaming built PC with capture cards? What the heck? DStat? Seriously? Yes? I mean, God, I like that's. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, D-Stat, have you done this stuff before? Um, I mean, because what it would be ideal, I think, is what I'm constantly sort of kludging stuff together. Like I'm either using a laptop or I'm using my stupid Mac. Oh, I got the Mac trash can, and it is just a freaking disaster. Always has been. Never. I got nothing nice to say about Apple about that. You know, I'm really ticked off about that. I bought that, and they failed me. They failed me miserably. So I'm very reticent to buy any of their other systems. I would like ideally to move away from Mac now because I'm so ticked off with them. Pac-Man, don't look the gift horse named D-Stat in the mouth, David. I am Pac-Man. I am totally not. Totally not. I so appreciate everything everyone does, and D-Stat is just, I'm kind of embarrassed because D-Stat is just so ridiculously generous with this stuff. And I just don't, I'm sorry. I am my father's son. I don't like accepting help. But D-Stat, yes, if there's anything you can do that can help make this stuff more interactive for people, that would be amazing. Ideally, what I want to do is have like a camera glued to a microscope, an overhead camera here so they can see what I'm working on if I want to demonstrate stuff there. I want to be able to stream content from the internet. I want to be able to do Zoom chat. It'd be nice to do some green screen stuff. I have green screens and things. But at this point, I just don't have the processing power on any of my computers to really do a terribly complex job. I mean, Baz's is better, but even that is not. It's not designed for the kind of multiple inputs that we're looking at. So, I mean, I have an old PC, but it's just too slow. It just doesn't. It struggles really struggles. Now, maybe capture cards could take the pressure off it. I don't know, but I welcome any advice you get on that, D-Stat. I can see if I can get one done, but I'll need some time. Lots of places are closed because of the pandemic. Yeah, I know, D-Stat. Look, this is like, please don't like. I thank you very much. Anything you can do, wonderful. But obviously don't go out of your way, and certainly don't put yourself in any danger of going out or dealing with stuff that you shouldn't at this point. So thank you. D-Stat, is there a way we can help with the dollar on David's build? Pac Mom, donate to the Tech Bandits. I don't need anything. This is amazing. I'll just let you guys talk amongst yourself. It's amazing. You guys do a way better job. You guys do a way better job of raising funds and resources for Tech Bandits than I do. So this is great. I'll just let you chat away. Please talk amongst yourselves. All right, what do you got? What else is there? Pricey, but here's the SDI capture card. What is this one? This is the Black Magic. Yeah, no, there's some beautiful Black Magic cards there. Like, just extraordinary. Do they need to be like I mean, I suppose everything seems to be moving like 4K. Some people are even doing 8K, but that just seems like such a waste of resources for most stuff. I suppose the clarity would be nice for microscope stuff, but even then, I'm not sure the lenses in my microscope are that good. So, that's another thing, microscopes. I got to figure that out. I have a really nice old an old microscope from my father's old clinic. But a couple of the lenses are just completely, I'm guessing something's inside or something grown inside or God knows what the deal is. I've cleaned them off. I've pulled them apart. I cannot fix them. So, I'm going to need to get some lenses for that as well. Something else I need to look into. Twitch actually by the end of the year should be 4K. Really? How are we going to stream 4K? It just feels like no one wants to see that much sweat. I'm totally not doing live burn alarms after I've exercised, given if it's in 4K, for God's sake. Have you reached out to the hacker community? I can put you in touch with a lot of folks. Thank you, the Stargazer. That's fantastic. Yeah, if you've got, I mean, one of the things I really wanted to do, and we've been talking to, I started talking to Avon. I never get it right. Who's the guy's name? Alex. What's Alex's name on here? Who's kindly wanted to donate some LCD screens and servers. Hey, Wraith Queen. I feel weird saying hi to the Wraith Queen after watching that pilot the other day. So he wanted to donate some servers, which, again, of course, now the idea of doing drop-offs and even any kind of social contact at this point is kind of out of the window. But the idea was, I thought we could set them up, and using his expertise, we could set them up to be hacked by kids. So you set up like a Linux or Unix server, whatever the hell it would be, or whatever, virtual machines of some sort. And then kids, you could say like, okay, kids, your job is to, get root or whatever. Because I know there's a bunch of kids are very excited about the idea of, hacking and all that kind of stuff. I shouldn't say kids. I am. Some kids are very excited about it, and I thought if they had sort of free range to really try this stuff themselves, like just try all sorts of stuff, try social engineering, see if I can give away some secrets about it or something. Hopefully they wouldn't hack my systems, but certainly if they could be hacking these old servers, it could be kind of fun. So it was one of those dreams I had when I first started out playing with computers, and I had the old 1200 baud modem. God, it may have even been before that. Was there, I guess, 9600 baud? Oh my God, whatever. Back in the dark ages, when it was bulletin board systems, there were lots of hacker forums there where you could go in and get information that you're not supposed to get, like the anarchist's cookbook and all that kind of stuff. So I used to love that stuff. And there was a dial-in number that someone had hacked, so that when you dialed in, you could hit a couple of buttons, and then you could dial long distance to other places, and all sorts of stuff. Back in the early days when this stuff wasn't strictly illegal at that point, it was just it was mischievous rather than than business critical type thing. So it was interesting. Is David raising a generation of hackers that could potentially be a national threat? I don't know about national threat. I'm thinking this is the problem. This is the problem I think with. Partially with My America's approach to the hacker communities. I don't think we should be like. I mean, yes, by all means, people who are stealing things and phishing and ripping people off. By all means, that's just criminal activity. But come on, like we should be recruiting people who are good at this stuff. We should be figuring out a way of having them do this stuff and do it well and do it for the right reasons. I mean, I don't think a lot of these people would be doing this in an antisocial negative way if they knew there were ways of doing this for good, basically. So I mean, the reality is, like, we're going to look back in, I don't know, 20 years or something, and go like, oh, that's when the Third World War started. Like, it's going to be entirely cyber related, right? So these are skills that I believe the kids will definitely need. So. The U.S. actually recruit a lot of ex-Black Hats. Chobo Kanin, yes, they do. They also arrest a lot. I feel like for a long period, they're definitely better than they used to be. But I remember one of the things when I first moved to L.A., when I first became an American citizen, I sort of had to go, okay, wait a second, I can't play with this hacking stuff anymore because it was actually declared a terrorist act back in the 9/11 days because they were so concerned about all different possible trajectories of attack. And I just thought, like, God, I can't, like, that's just a risk I wouldn't. So I was telling kids not to do any of this stuff. Whereas now, back in Canada, it's a little more lax on that stuff. But I think that if you were to give them a playground for this kind of stuff, I think it'd be amazing. There's a course. I'll try to find this course. I was sent a link by a guy who teaches like penetration testing for computers at one of the universities, and he sent me a little sort of like online course that kids could do, and I thought they might have some fun doing that. I know what you mean, David. There's a little room for genuine white hat activities. Yeah, there is a little room for that. I think that's good. What's up, everyone? Says Sniperclism. Oh, I'm afraid we're doing a sweaty burn and learn chat here today. What is it that we do at KidCon at B-Sides DC HackerCon? What's that? That is what we do at KidCon. Oh, really? Oh, cool. For Stargaze, that's what you do? Oh, that's very cool. I mean, that's like I'm sure people are doing this stuff. It'd just be kind of fun to have an online version. There used to be one, like I said, there used to be a server that it was just set up to be hacked. That was it. But there's very little. That's interesting. Okay. We don't get Star Trek without World War III. Interesting, Warpig. Interesting. What do we got? What's Groves going on about here? What do we got at Groves Baz? The service to hack idea is called Capture the Flag in industry terms. Look at that. There are tons of pre-made virtual machines online that you can download that exist solely for that purpose. Oh, fantastic. Groves Baz. So there you go. See? That's what I'm saying. The chat's the best. This is what I find the film and television industry doesn't understand. They didn't understand it about YouTube, and I don't think they're ever going to understand it about this, or maybe they will. Is that it's not about this horrible term content. And I've used it too, and I'm guilty of using it as well. But the idea that this isn't about a video. Like, it's not about, oh, look, there's a 20-minute video. No, it's about a community, a sense of, of belonging and stuff. I mean, I've always joked that the Burn and Learns are videos for me. They're not for you. Sorry. No offense. It's, and it's, I get more out of it than these are not, this is not a product. This is like it's a cry for help. Lunch is finished. What's up, says Nutrimancer. Well, what did you have for lunch? And maybe we'll talk to you, maybe we won't, because I haven't had lunch yet. What is this? Yes, it was a joke. Here in Germany, big tech and phone companies upload what prizes you can get. Then you find a security lack ranging. So a security breach, I'm guessing, ranging up to 150,000 euros. Woohoo! There's definitely a lot of money-based bug testing stuff out there for sure now. The thing about community is that it rightfully doesn't scale too big. That's great, but doesn't make it attractive to higher ups. I think the biggest issue, Krovspaz, is how do you monetize it in a traditional way? I mean, if you're a film company, it's very difficult to go out and say, like, we need money to make movies. It's like, well, you make money making movies, like, whereas there are indie films out there that I guess you could be asking for funding for. And there's also control, right? I mean, the big fear with most people is a lack of control. I mean, I'm a total control freak myself, but and I don't like, I generally don't like. My father said, never get into partnerships. Always make sure that you can have much smarter people working for you or working with you, but it should never. This needs to be someone in control, which I thought was kind of interesting. He also believed that there should be that tall fences made good neighbors. That was also. I always thought that was the That was the saying. We should specify physical social distancing. It should be physical distancing, I think they're saying now, instead of social distancing, because social distancing sounds like you shouldn't be talking to anybody. The reality is we should be talking to a lot more people. It's amazing the number of people I've got in touch with. We have like this cousins chat on WhatsApp, which is all of my British cousins who I haven't spoken to for, in some cases, years. And I finally sort of came in and said, like, can I get in on this? Because I don't know any of you. And it's just so neat. There's I got my one of my cousins is in Cambodia now, traveling. Which I don't understand, but apparently they're saying it's safer in Cambodia than it is in London right now, apparently, according to them anyways. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. So I've just found myself in contact with way more people than I used to be. So group immunity doesn't work for this case. The group immunity is a little misleading, I think, because I feel like it's. I mean, I hate to think what the anti-vaxxers are going to do when that hits when they start triggering on that, because the idea is that basically you get to a point where enough people have had this virus that it's no longer sort of sustaining itself. The reality is that means a lot of people are going to get sick and a lot of people are going to die. I think is basically what it comes to, and I don't know about you, but I'm not happy with that approach. So Poutine, do the thing. Close all the quarantine. And 5 years jail if you don't. Poutine, do the thing. I'm not sure what that means exactly. Poutine, I know, is a French Canadian brilliant little dish that is French fries covered in gravy, covered in melted cheese curds, and they're amazing. Sometimes they put chili in there. Oh, it's amazing. I don't know what that has to do with with the quarantine, but basically, I think what we're saying is that the Quebec has basically allowed the police to start breaking up parties of 5 or more, or whatever it is, and arresting people for disobeying quarantine. So I don't know any other way around it, honestly. I don't like, if people are stupid enough to not pay heed to this stuff and put other people in danger, then I think they deserve to go to jail. Though I don't know what we're going to do with them in jail either. Cool. Oh, Guffa Waffle. Guffa Waffle. I like the sound of that. David, what was that? The UK? Guffa Waffle likes the sound of the poutine. David, UK is working on a cure right now. Coronavirus trials have started. Coronavirus. Oh, trials. I was like, trails. What's a trail? I don't know what that is. That's great, Harklight. That's good to know. Look, I think the fact is that science will solve this. I think science will solve a lot of these problems. But I think we have to learn from it too, right? I mean, like, what was it? There was Bill Gates had a TED Talk like like 5 years ago or something that said like we're not ready for the next pandemic flu or whatever, and we did nothing. Like it just drives me crazy. I heard on the news that people are getting sick from touching gas station fill-up handles. Yeah, absolutely. High traffic areas, it lives on metal for long periods of time. Gloves are smart if you use them properly, I guess. Don't touch your face. I touch my face all the freaking time. My wife says it's okay while I'm in the house, but once you got the habit of touching your face all the time, you're doing it all the time. Spring breakers going home. Oh God, I don't even know. I mean, like, it feels like the Darwin Awards. These idiots out. I don't even know where to go with that. OD23. UK started as a control group, go for herd immunity, but now opted, then they backed out, didn't they? And now shutting down also. Yikes. I don't know. I don't know the science. Like, and I'm going to stress this here again. I play a doctor on TV. I don't know this stuff. Like, this is, I know what I'm interested in. I have a curiosity. I would call a contagious curiosity. Probably a bad term right now. But, so I love knowing as much as I can about stuff. But I'm by no means an expert. I'm like a jack of all trades, master of none. So don't take my advice. My advice or any other freaking actor's advice doesn't matter. It doesn't, just because you're famous doesn't mean you've got any kind of insight into stuff. And I'm not saying I'm famous, but I mean, like, I question a lot of this stuff. I see people running online right now and trying to sound like they know what they're talking about. And the reality is that just trust the people who do this, like, and leave it at that. I really worry about people giving advice that they don't know what they're talking about. So back it up with data. That always helps. Detective Scroat's Ball Cop. Good Lord. 4 years ago. Yeah, haven't seen it. As my recommended YT videos. What's this? What are you looking at? What are you looking at? Saladin, Vlad Putin, David Vladimir. Vlad Putin, David Vladimir. Thank you, Saladin. I don't know what that means exactly. Lots of false information on social media about coronavirus. It's very dangerous. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, just in general, I think politicians are making up crap. They don't know what they're talking about. I think we're not getting the information that we should. I don't know whether it's a matter of them thinking that they're protecting us from something, but there's just common sense stuff that just doesn't, like all that crap about the masks and how, of course masks help, but we need to keep them for the medical professionals, not for us. And we don't know how to use them in most cases. I mean, the idiots sitting there pulling the masks up and down to have cigarettes and stuff. What's the point of having a mask? Celebrities walking around with, like, colored coordinated masks and bare arms, and it's just ridiculous. Anyways. Oh, thank you, Xenos. What's that going on there? Fat guy with a bow tie. I mean, if I had a bow tie, I'd be with you. That's not the full quote. Jack of all trades, master of none, often exceeds master of one. Oh, really? Is that how it goes? Oh my God! I really hope that's. I hope that's not fake news, because that's. I like the sound of that. That's fantastic. It's funny they're saying in this data, because I'm doing this data science thing, backing up to the beginning of what I was talking about, they're saying that it may, people who aren't entirely focused on one area might be very useful in data science, because they can step back and they can tell a story, if that makes sense. It would be kind of interesting if I go from writing to writing data stories. There's a number of things that have come up recently that I think the bandits could really play with. There's a number of, like, sort of really fun kind of interactive representations of data that I would like them to play with. One of the things we did with a project that I invented a bunch of projects with robots to work on with a company out here. And one of the things we did was we took Google data, so Google Trends data. We just looked up, like, I can't remember, I think we looked up math, maybe math. Like, the point being is, let's say we looked up math on Google Trends, and you could see these very clear trends. Like, as school geared up, all of a sudden all that math searches went up. As we hit March break, boom, disappeared again, right back up again. So it was really fun. You could definitely see when people were in and out of school, and even weekends where it sort of dropped off or peaked depending on where they were in the year. So just kind of interesting stuff. And what we did was we took a robot. Let me grab it now. We grabbed this beast. I think I've talked about this before. But we grabbed this beast. So this six-legged beast here, and we taped we taped markers to it, like different colored markers on it, and we just had it do little dances depending on the number of the data, basically. So for every, let's say, 5,000 searches, there would be like 5 little sort of moves that this robot would do. And I just wanted to show the kids that there wasn't, that there was no right way to conceive of data. So so you came out with this. It was really funny because all the grown-ups were like, what the hell? Like that's useless. I was like, no, it's not useless. It's fun. And it means that the kids are suddenly seeing a connection between data, between this Google Trends boring numbers, and a robot dancing around making silly pictures. So it was just, it was fascinating. And they loved it because they were coming up, they were iterating. They were like, okay, that dance wasn't very good. So let's do one that moves its legs more so we can see a more clear indication of just how much data there was. So, for example, if there was like a very low search queries for math, there would be very little movement of the robot, so you'd see very little of a pattern on the paper with a big, long, huge tube of paper. And then as it would ramp up, it would be more and more of these little chicken scratches on the paper. And again, yeah, it's unreadable to a data scientist. It's laughable to anybody who's doing it for a living, I'm sure. But for me, it was just making that connection between a physical robotic machine and the data, and how they were that link, how they were the ones who invented the dance that represented the data. So it was like data art, basically. So and again, my only way in on this stuff is just what I find interesting. I thought that was fascinating. I was giggling in joy while we were doing it, so I felt that maybe 1 out of the 1,000 kids who see it might actually get a kick out of it. So that and the fart robots. I was using Google. We use Google's fantastic machine. It's called Google. Is it a teachable machine? I have to find the link for it. Teachable machine. That basically you can teach it to recognize images and movements and sounds. So of course I taught it how to recognize fart sounds, and depending on the type of fart that was released, not physically, but in a sound file, or in a squeaky. I have these little, they're called brain farts that make fart noises. Let me show you. Let me demonstrate, because otherwise you'd be missing out. Here we go. So these are called brain farts. See if it works. Oh, maybe if I turn it off. Oh, maybe I may have killed the battery. Let's see. There you go. Is it here? There you go. So there you go. It's like ASMR. So they're called brain farts. And the idea was that depending on the sound you got, the movement, the robot would respond with a different reaction. So the thing would be climbing towards you. You'd be like, fart, 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 as a way of trying to get it to back off. Again, I know it's just inane and childish, but to me, it's about that. You got to get excited about this stuff, because if it's just like, this is how you use AI. You program this, write this, put this number in here, and it's just code, it means nothing to people. Whereas if you show them a fart robot, they'll go figure out how to make it themselves if they have any interest to it. Or it comes back to them when they're doing programming later, and all of a sudden they've got a thesis in how to control robots with bodily noises or something. So anyway, so that's my little thing. Funny, as I explain it, I get more and more embarrassed about how stupid it is. But there you go. So yes. Oh, I see. We're all on the false information thing now. What do we got here? Oh, if I stopped. Oh, the chat stopped due to scroll. Oh my gosh, I need a brain fart. Grove spaz. I gotta get a brain fart. Okay. While trying to buy some merch, unexpected end of JSON inputs. What the heck? What's going on, Mr. Nixon? Are you trying to buy spreadshirts? What's happened? Mr. Nixon, I'll have a look and see what's going on. The spreadshirt folks are usually very, very good, I'd have to say, at fixing stuff. So, Grove Spaz, thank you for the subscription. I didn't even see that. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I've not really been keeping track of I'm having a very hard time trying to keep track of the chat. What is it? Saladin's going, David, what's up? The robot is scary. I wouldn't be able to sleep with that thing in the building. Are you kidding? Chobo, come in. This is the best. It's even got a diamond. Oh my God, this is although I gotta say, it does this little, it does a pounce. which is a little creepy, I gotta say, where it comes back and you can pounce at you. I should do like an easy robot course for you guys. Not course, but like demo. Add that to the list. Add it to the list. Having fun is a very important part of learning. You learn so much better if you're generally interested. That's it. I mean, that's what I think. Take wipes, either store-bought or handmade, in a baggie. Wipe off your surface like keypads, gas pumps when you venture out. Thank you, Monica Lake. Very good point. Tawny Cat. Our health department had to go out on social media to debunk the myths about certain foods and supplements being able to cure. I know, the cure thing's ridiculous. Look, there were people in India saying you should drink cow urine and then you're done. Now again, I don't know. Maybe you do, but my hunch is you're probably not going to work. But like maybe I'm not arguing that there could be some medical background to certain things. Obviously, we discover cures in all sorts of ways. Apparently, the Amazon's full of all sorts of things for that kind of thing. But the reality is, I feel like at times like this, there are snake oil salesmen. There are like charlatans and frankly evil people who want to make money by selling you crap that doesn't help. Even just walking down, local high street the other day, and there's a supplement store saying like boost your immunity with this, and it's like, look, maybe you can, but I also don't think it's, I think there are much more better common sense approaches like staying fit, eating, sleeping properly, and then of course no physical contact. It's a replicator. Dr. X12. It's very true. It is very replicator-like. He doesn't make a link between Putin and Vladimir. President of Russia makes total quarantine. What the heck? Saladin, I can't keep up with you. I just can't keep up. All right, what's going on? What else have I got? I'm missing so much because I'm missing the scroll. Digital Senior says, I'm glad I live in Belgium. Ooh, best healthcare in the world. It's expensive, but who cares when you're sick? Wait a second, when you say it's expensive, Belgium, Digital Senior, so you're paying for it? It's private healthcare? Is that the idea? Eating citrus, very good. I don't know. John P7, good evening. How are you doing? What did I miss? Well, you missed me a lot sweatier. This is actually a burn and learn that I'm doing right now, which I'm actually going to wrap up fairly soon because, as I said, I'll start like shivering in cold and lose the thread now that my once the endorphins wear off. D-Stat, I have direct connects with the big warehouses that sell supplements and stuff. It's crazy. What a lot of people don't realize is how cheap those supplements are coming direct from the suppliers. But this is it. Look, this is the whole homeopathy thing where they talk about where you're trying to get, an infusion of this down to a tiny, to a percentage of 1 drop in 4 oceans worth of water, and that's going to somehow cure you. In which case, why not just drink the freaking ocean? Because there's probably more of it in there. This stuff drives me crazy. But $300 million to pharma and search thing. Well, look, the new Stargate print, Xenos. It's progressing. I got some new parts. I definitely have some new parts in motion here. I'm not going to try to peel them off yet, but I've got the outer edges now, and I think the connecting pieces. I've got a few 6 pieces to print now that I no longer feel guilty for. Now that I no longer feel guilty and that I should be printing N95 masks or something. Robots that respond to sound would work with rescue services, like being able to identify people trapped under rubble or stuck beneath something. Yeah, I mean, the rescue stuff is really, the rescue robots are fascinating. And I mean, the whole point of robotics, right, is to be doing things that are dangerous or repetitious or tiring for humans, right? So the reality is anything that puts any stress on the human, body should be done by robots. Simple as that. I mean, I love the image, and I by no means belittle firefighters in any way, but the reality is, send a robot into a burning building. I mean, that makes more sense. Same thing with any kind of. I worry a little bit about sort of killer robots, but even when it comes to warfare, I mean, I'd much rather someone blow up a robot than a person or a platoon, for God's sake. I mean, there's so many different approaches to this stuff where humans can be saved. I mean, look, I'm not saying we should send in robot armies, but I'd much rather diplomacy sort of win out. But at the same time, I mean, if we can save people's lives with robots or make people's lives better, then yeah, absolutely. I thought Bill Gates had a great idea where he said, you should just tax robots. So every robot that works in a factory instead of a person should be taxed as a person. Like whatever they would contribute, from a personal as a human. That is the company's taxed for that, and that money goes back into the population. I don't know, maybe I mean I know there's a lot of debate on whether there should be an automatic sort of salary for people, whatever it's called, basic universal income and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Like I'm so funny because I feel like I'm a bleeding heart conservative, if that makes sense. Like I think government is generally pretty awful at doing things, but at the same time, I also a huge suck when I see someone in trouble. So, as Jane says, she says, I'm so eager to help people that I'm not always practical. It's very true. Soda Crafter's rating with 29. Soda Crafter, you're the best. What the heck? Fantastic. Soda Crafter, what do you do on your stream? What do you folks up to? So the Soda Fam World Tour has landed. Oh my gosh. So many little rockets and waving faces, and oh my gosh. What do you guys do, SodaCraft? What's your poison? What do you like doing? Hello, SodaCrafter. Thank you very much. And all of your SodaCrafters. Who we got? Is Mordecus, you part of this as well? Mdu's in here. We got Sith Lord Brit. We got Tracy the Kid. Jack Jasper's in there thanking. Hey, Jack is a little raccoon with a heart. I love it. So Soda Crafter, what do you guys like doing? What do you guys and gals, what are you up to? And hello, Harklight. I like your throne table. That would accrue more taxes than humans. Most robotic workers work 24/7. Exactly. How cool is that? I mean, no, they'd have to come up with some kind of a sliding scale of some sort, but I just think that's kind of interesting. Look, again, I'm not saying it's a solution. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Ruby Cave is saying, don't set yourself on fire to keep someone warm. It's good to be kind, but not at your own expense. Well put. Okay, so Soda Crafter, I crochet a lot of fan arts. No, seriously? I'm working on Baby Yoda. Oh my god! And starting on Stargate characters next. Please don't do me. I would look so horrible in crochet. It's like I'm bad enough already, but a crocheted McKay is just. It rhymes though. Really, Baby Yoda? Do you have a picture? Of Baby Yoda? What you're working on, or anything, or what do you got? And do you want to do a link? Actually, Soda Crafter, put a link to your channel too, so everyone knows that they can and should say hello to you. Because if you're gonna rate us, you should come and you should be more than happy to get. There you go. That's what. Before I could stumble out the words, I'm actually. I was saying I will start to fade very soon because I've done my exercise. So I've come in all sweaty and done my post-exercise ramble, and then I'll slowly start. The hypothermia will start kicking in, and I'll be freezing cold and stop making any sense at all. Knuckle Knits. I like that. My hubby and I are longtime SG fans. I am rewatching SG1 at the moment. We'll enjoy the classics. Just the classics. Saladin. Okay, I'll make a book with that. What the heck? What's Saladin up to now? Government take group immunity option. Vladimir Putin. Oh, you mean... Of course. Okay, got it. On his side, take the option of total quarantine in Russia, and if you don't quarantine, it's 5 years in jail for all this mess in chat. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, sorry for all this mess in chat. Okay, so the idea is that Putin, not Poutine. I'm afraid I went off on a little tangent about fries, gravy, and cheese because I thought you were talking about poutine. I'm just cracking myself up. I mistook Saladin's conversation about Putin because he spelt it poutine. I had a whole recipe from. Oh dear. I'm losing it. Fries, gravy, and cheese is better than politics. It's very true. Okay. Thank you for Stargazer. I shall check. I should check my email. What was I going to say? How goes the folding? Okay, get this. John Fastlane. I got to figure this out. Mac computer, it just won't do it. For some reason, it will not work. And I haven't, to be honest, I haven't sort of drilled in to see what happens. But I know that just out of the box, starting it up, not working. Works beautifully on the laptop. Unfortunately, I can't game while it's on. Even if it's set at its lowest settings, it just kills my laptop for some reason. So basically, I'm installing it, uninstalling it, installing it, uninstalling it, depending on how I want to do it, because I haven't figured out how to turn it off and on. So that's where I'm at with that. But again, I feel like I've got to get it on his computer. I'm just terrified to mess it up because if I install something on his computer, Bratlet that is, and then it starts messing with his gameplay, I will never hear the end of it. And believe me, we're like, I mean, you get all the happy posts of Baz and I together, but the reality is there's been a lot of butting heads recently, and I totally get it. I am not the easiest person to live with because I'm always right. So I'm a little nervous about touching my own computer. What am I saying? It's my computer. It's not his computer. He's like adopted my computer, and I feel guilty going near it now. Apples go bad. Yeah, it's true. Apples go bad. It's true. Don't mean to alarm you, David, but I think there's a replicator behind you. Dead Pixel. You're like behind by like 20 minutes. Yes. I was showing this off. This is my this is one of the easy robots this is a Canadian company. Out in the prairies. Edmonton? Is it Edmonton? I think it's Edmonton. And they're just I just love them. I love them. I mean, are they perfect? No, but they are perfect for me. So they're basically completely modular, lots of little servos and things. The brains are in here. There you go. So that's the brain, basically. Batteries built in. In fact, this Stargate here, the lights up here are being run by a smaller version of one of these. Not the whole thing, just the brain, basically. And I just find it's a great way to sort of very quickly prototype anything with servos and LEDs and the sonar sensors and stuff. Plus, it ties into the whole Microsoft. Is it Azure? I think it may be Azure, but lots of things like facial recognition and color recognition and content-aware video. A lot of stuff that you could do with this because it has like little cameras and stuff. And the interesting thing about that was I thought, well, how come the resolution is never going to be good enough? But the reality is you don't want great resolution for a lot of this stuff because when it comes to like facial recognition, that kind of stuff, it's almost better for it to be sort of a high contrast, low res image than it is for a really, really high resolution image because the high resolution image takes up so much time. This sucker would explode in flames if it had to work on that, I'm sure. But one day. A lot of debate on facial recognition right now. I've noticed that people are a bit concerned about that, which I get. But it's kind of it's weird coming at it from my perspective because my face, like my entire job is about getting my face out there as much as possible. Well, at least it was. Now I find myself hiding a lot more. So airtight alibi. I'm not actually running Discord. My son usually helps me out on this stuff. So I'm really just concentrating on the chat here, if that's all right with folks. I gotta say that the chat stuff I get so confused on. Oh my god, now my stomach's going as well. I'm hungry as well now. David Sodacraft added a pic of Baby Yoda to the Discord picture folder. Is there a way to? Oh, here it is. Here we go. I've got a link right here. I was gonna say, can we put it in the chat? OMG, that is freaking beautiful. Oh my god, my son. Do not show my son this. I'm going to be freaking crocheting I'll be crocheting the apocalypse away. That is amazing. Oh my god. Okay, so everyone's got to go check out Sodacraft for sure because they are obviously rocking it Star Wars style here. Oh my god, this is the thing. I think, Tashui, thank you very much for the subscription. That's very kind of you. Thank you. So here's what I've discovered. We're all McKays. There's a McKay in all of us. But I think more importantly, we all geek about something. Everyone has something that they geek out about. And, I always find like if you're looking for a connection with somebody, if you can find that thing that excites them, that they're geek, it's the best. I mean, the fact that people are getting so much joy out of crocheting, that's freaking amazing. And I'm sure that if you delve into it, it's crazy fun. It's just, of course, it's nothing that I've ever done. But I just love that everyone has their own little things, their own little geeks. Everyone's a geek about something. People usually sit down while streaming, skip past 99 or every 100 questions. Is that what happens? Their passion. What do they call it? The element. Is that fantastic Kenneth? Is it Kenneth Robinson? Is that right, Sir Kenneth? Is that right? He had this amazing book called The Element, which is about the best story he had in that was about this little girl who couldn't sit still. She was disruptive in class. Her mother's freaking out, takes her to a psychiatrist because basically the school has said, look, we cannot handle this kid. You got to get her on meds. She's obviously like out of control. So takes her to the psychiatrist. Psychiatrist sits her down, talks to the kid, talks to the mom, and then says, okay, look, I need to talk to your mother outside. What kind of music do you like? I'll put on the radio. So she's whatever she says. She put on the radio. They leave. She says, look, just sit down, stay here. I'm gonna go talk to your mom. So they leave, and the mom's like freaking out. Like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And the doctor's like, just wait a second. And they wait outside the door. There's like a window in the door. And they look through the door, and sure enough, she's up. She's dancing around. She's just like in full motion. And the mother's just like distraught. Like, what do I do? He says, this kid doesn't have a problem. This kid's a dancer. Put him in a dance academy. Sure enough, she goes off. She finds a room full of people who are the same as her. They can't sit still. They got to dance. They got to move. And then she goes on to become like an award-winning, globally a success as the choreographer for the Cats guy, basically, for Andrew Lloyd Webber. So it's full of these amazing stories about people who just don't fit the mold. And I'm beginning to believe that nobody fits the mold. I mean, I really believe that every single kid has a different way in on this stuff. And the weird thing with the Tech Bandits that I'm discovering is that the kids who are the most difficult in class, and in some ways the most difficult socially in a lot of ways, are some of my best Tech Bandits. Like, I mean, once you can sort of get over the fact that they're just not going to do what you tell them, there's also the advantage of moving online is you can now mute them. It's amazing to me. It's just amazing to me. I'm sorry, I'm not sure why I went that way, but it's great. Some kids are kinetic. It's very true. John Fastlane, sad to hear the laptop's not folding well. Been thinking about running it on my Mac. It would be fun to start a folding team. Iron Ham folding? Yeah, no kidding. Or Stargate. We should do like a Stargate. We should do Stargate folding because then that might bring in more people than just the 10, 15 people who enjoy McKay. Yeah, that would be neat. That would be very neat. Well, everyone's unique. They are their own mold. Yes, that's true. Very true. And I'm feeling a little moldy after all that exercise. Who designs the mold? Reminds me of the first question I get asked in abnormal physics, in natural psychology. What is normal? Yeah, no kidding. Lol, yeah, says Saladin. The Angry Educator says, crucial thing about the brain is that the more sensory input, the more thorough the learning, the better it sticks. Yeah, absolutely. I think was certainly for me. David, would you like me to send you more information on the CTF servers off stream? Yes, please, GroveSpaz. That'd be amazing. There should be contact information in there as well. I'm David IQ. I should put this in. So I've got an email address that, again, please. I apologize if I take a long time to get back to you, but I should have all these in the chat bot, shouldn't I? At gmail.com. There you go. DIQ. So there you go. I take a long time to respond to this one because this is the open email, but that's where if you need to send me stuff, info, then let me know. I need to fix someone's brain about 3D printers. What do you need, Soda Crafter? Prusa. That's what you need. It depends what you want to do, Soda Crafter, but if you want to get into 3D printing, I gotta say, I love my Prusa. If anyone else has other suggestions, please dive in, but I would definitely recommend that. Plus, I just love the guy. The guy, again, I'm sorry to repeat myself here, but I do want Soda Crafter to know why I'm doing this. So Prusa, Joseph Prusa is the guy who created these printers, and he's converted his company to help out with this whole COVID thing by creating hand sanitizer and disinfectant, and also he's just sent 4,000 of these 3D printed face shields out to the medical types. So if you can support him, I would love to see more people buying Prusa printers because of that. So I would definitely recommend that. We've lost great educators because of the system. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we're still part of the problem with education. I think is that we all, if we have kids, they go through the educational system and you sort of complain about each element of it, each section of the education that they're going through as you go through it. But then you don't look back. And I think that was my frustration and my guilt, I guess, was that I was complaining about the way things work and trying to fix it for Baz. And I thought, well, wait a second, if I'm fixing it for Baz, shouldn't I be trying to fix it for other kids as well? So Baz, we actually took him out of public school and put him in private school because we just couldn't get his interest in the school that he was in. Not because of the teachers. I think it's partially because of the curriculum and also because the class size was huge. It's a massive class size. Like 30-something kids. And Baz is a great kid, but he's really good at like sort of fading into the background when he needs to and then jumping up front when he wants to. So it was very easy for him to sort of slip through the cracks. So we had put him in a private school because we're lucky enough that we could afford that, sort of. And although I wonder about it all the time, like it just kind of terrifies me how much money you can spend on this stuff. But he was in a much, much smaller class, and it's made a huge difference. He misses some of the amenities of the bigger schools. Like he doesn't have the public school has swimming pools and libraries and all this kind of stuff. This is the kind of private school that I went to, which is all about just like, the education basically. So we pulled him out of that, but I didn't want to stop doing my little PC build club. Because I just felt like, so if it was helping my kid, then surely it's helping other kids who can't make that jump to other schools. So that was the genesis of my Tech Bandits was that. So I believe that the system is really far behind, and because your kid is moving through it, you end up looking ahead to how you can fix stuff, and then you ignore what's gone before you. So I think that it's very easy to just the inertia to set in when things just are done the way they've always been done. I'm kind of hoping, if maybe I'm just like Mary Poppins in this, but I'm being a little too optimistic about this, but I'm kind of hoping that this crazy like nightmare of like a world war that we're in right now against this virus is going to change the educational system, because all of a sudden they're faced with trying to get everybody online. All of a sudden they've got to, they're throwing out these standardization stuff, and they're trying to figure out on how to get education to kids. It's one of the things that I'm hoping to help out with this Let's Talk Science. Let me try it again. See, I told you I was going to lose it. I told you I would slowly stop making sense as I progressed. That's really what I want to help out with Let's Talk Science, because they've got these great resources. They want to move online. But I think that it's very easy to, once you've moved past these grades at school, to just, you let it go. It's no longer a concern of yours. It's the next grade. So nothing changes. And for some reason, I don't know why, politicians seem to want to cut, education first when it comes to trying to cut budgets, which I just feel like it's just like a threat being held over you. Who else we got here? We're at an hour and 20 minutes. Holy crap. Okay. I never understood standardized education because humans aren't standard. Yeah. What's standard? I mean, I highly agree with you. Does Canada and USA have the infrastructure to do that? To do what? To move online? No. I mean, I don't know about the US. The Canadian system is struggling already. I mean, basically, they've put out a list of links of places to go, like Khan Academy and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see how they're going to actually tie it into the curriculum and stuff. What's great about Let's Talk Science is all of their projects, all of their educational material is based on numbers. Like they've done due diligence, they've done the numbers, they've proven that this stuff is important and how it's important. And so all their projects are based around educational data that they've analyzed. So, and also Bonnie Schmidt, who runs the place. Oh my God! I mean, talk about a Sam Carter. I mean, that woman is amazing. She's just single-handedly created this organization that now spans the entire of Canada and is basically in every classroom in Canada in some way, shape, or form, and has inspired like millions and millions of kids to go into the sciences. She's amazing. In fact, why don't I put a little link in here too? Because I'm so savvy with the old internet ways. Yeah, amazing, and a real charity. Like, I mean, unlike me, who's just asking for money to do the Tech Bandit stuff. These folks are actually a registered Canadian charity. So, in fact, she was instrumental in getting me into doing this stuff. Because, I did my usual coming in like, I'm just a silly actor and I just play smart on TV. And she's like, but no, I've seen your videos. You're curious, and that's all that matters. As long as you're willing to learn, you want to learn. That's infectious, basically. She basically called me infectious, and she really sort of helped me. She's been amazing about sort of helping me focus on what's important, and also just helping me focus. Like, here, write those things down so I can take them to so and so that we can try to make this happen, type thing. So, nothing but wonderful things to say about Bonnie Schmidt. As I say, the Sam Carter of education here in Canada. So, all numbers since Egyptian math. Yep, that's it. Look, I mean, what do we got here? Detective Scroats Ballgame. Now I'm having flashbacks to the episode of SG-1 where Carter goes to the Air Force Academy and finds that kid who's like her and introduces her to the SGC. Yes, they can all be found. Soda Crafter. My son's online school had to close enrollment in our state. They just got flooded. What? Wait a second. They just got flooded, like literally flooded, or they got flooded with like COVID? What's that? Like, what are we talking about here? Wait a second. They got flooded with people, with kids. Oh my God. Had to, honest God, see, this is it. They're just not ready for it. They're not ready for this stuff. And it's not a priority, which drives me freaking crazy. We could all be McKays, maybe more pleasant versions of McKays and Sam Carters, if there was an educational system that helped us do this. So if you like it, do it. Good job, David, with Tech Bandit. Oh, thank you, Saladin. Appreciate it. At least here in NC, what they say, class size caps apply to online schools too. Do they really? I didn't know that. What are the classroom caps that you're talking about? Because we're like, they have like these, they talk about the average class size, which is so misleading because that means you've got averages right smack in the middle, which means that half of them are way too freaking populated. We had 33 or something kids in our class. It was nuts. Yeah. Kids are already enrolled are fine, but they don't have the teachers to take on the rest of the state. You know what, though? Honestly, Soda Crafter, I think this is an opportunity for people to start looking into alternative ways of getting the education that their kids need. Khan Academy, amazing resources. There's a ton of great resources out there, and online courses and all sorts of stuff. That I think this is a possibly like a point in our education evolution that we can start looking for new ways of inspiring the kids to get into stuff. So I really hope that there can be some good coming out of this freaking misery that the world's in right now. So, all right, folks. I don't know how long have I been going? Can someone hit? What do we got? I don't know why it matters, but I feel like I'm fading fast here. So. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Digital Senior. So I was like, can't move fingers. All right. Harklight, I'm making your night. I'm so glad. Harklight, thank you. I appreciate it. I guess when we celebrated Carnival from the party COVID, same idea. Germany smashed, to put it friendly. Was that? What? I guess when we celebrated Carnival from the level of party, you can compare it to spring break. Okay. When we had COVID in the same area, Germany was smashed. What? They didn't really do that, did they? Airtight Alibi says, my daughter-in-law is working with autistic preschoolers online. So proud of her. Oh, wow. What? How is she doing that? Airtight Alibi. How does your daughter-in-law do that? I'd be really curious to see how that worked. Now, is this so? Where on the spectrum are these of autism are these kids? Are they? I'd be curious to know how that works. Because honestly, I would love to be doing stuff like that. I've talked to a couple of people who've been doing, and I think some people here might have even mentioned it, where they are losing the thread. I'm losing the thread. Okay. I was talking to some people who were using acting classes to teach kids with autism or kids who are on the autism spectrum. And the idea is that apparently our silly acting skills can actually be useful in teaching kids about eye contact and, the social norms that they need to familiarize themselves with that don't come naturally to a lot of kids on the spectrum like that. So that's something I'd love to get into because I really feel like that's something I could actually maybe help with. Anyways, Nightbot, thank you. Oh my gosh, Xenos is going crazy with the Nightbot there. You're keeping Nightbot busy there. So let me see. Did we get an answer from? Okay, She has set up an online chat with the parents and are meeting with each student and parents every day. Oh, that's fantastic. Is there... I guess she can't really share video about that or anything, can she? And I'd love to know sort of what her expertise is and what her training is on that stuff. So Pac-Man says, thank you for the distraction, David. I was a bit stressed and unfocused this morning trying to do homework. You've helped me unwind, so I truly appreciate you taking the time to share live today. I'm so glad. I'm glad it worked out. I gotta say, this is really fun. It always is really fun. But there's something nice about being able to, I guess get on my soapbox and then be able to actually chat back and forth. So it'd be a social failure if it hadn't been for theater and live role play. What's this, Tawny? What's Tawny on about here? Tawny Cat? What do you got? I'm so rude. What's Tawny Cat on about? I would love to connect my wife and her, as my wife supports our daughter with Down syndrome and others. Oh, cool. Oh, that's great. Oh, see, I love this. I love when the chat starts inter-chatting and doing things together. That's amazing. This reminds me of D-Geek. The thing I loved about D-Geek was that people were making friends on D-Geek and stuff. 2 votes. After 6 days of 12-hour shifts sending food to supermarkets, I'm exhausted and need this. Spinner Breaker. I'm so glad. And thank you for doing that, because, frankly, I don't know what we'd do if there weren't people doing it. I got to sort out some groceries for my dad, because they've been put into, well, I guess because they flew during they came home in the last 7 days from the UK, which is, I guess, now a hot spot for this stuff. So they've been told they basically have to stay in for 2 weeks. And of course, before they went on their big long trip that got cut short, they got rid of all the food in the house so that it wouldn't go bad. So I was going to go grocery shopping, but I think Jane has suggested that we order it online and just go pick it up, because then there's less interaction with people and it's going to be easier, probably even better for the people at the grocery store as well. So I'm hoping that's the case. LARPing. Tony Cat says, theater and LARPing taught me about social interactions is what I meant. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, that makes total sense. Look, the reality is social interaction is acting. It really is acting. Everyone, it's that Beatles song. It's the face by the door. It's the, face that you keep in the jar by the door as you leave the house. You put on your little social mask and you go out. I've always said that there's no great skill to acting. It's just what everyone does every day. Some people are more comfortable with doing it in front of a camera than others. Baz used to do something in the playground, which I thought was really cute, which very reminiscent of me, basically, which was he used to stay back and watch the kids play, and then he would go up and do something inanely silly. Just goof, say something or do something or get in their face and do something, just gesture-ish. And the kids would laugh, and then he was a part of the crowd. And that was it. It's like he gauged the room to see what was needed, and then he went in and he became, he sort of modified himself to that behavior. And I've always thought that was kind of me in a way, where I would rather make a fool of myself first and to sort of lower the guard and then sort of step back. And it's sort of an innate part of my personality now. I like to think that I do it. I like to think that maybe at some point I started on purpose, but the reality is I am also just a complete klutz. So it's sort of worked with what I've been given, with the gifts I've been given, shall we say. Baz, can you grab your dad a drink, please? Yeah, no kidding. All right. Mdu's looking at their watch. Henry Educator says, the first time I ever stimmed in front of my best friend, I never, he literally just passed me something to shake. What was that? What is that? Sorry, Angry Educator, I missed that. I don't understand. 99 people watching, David. No pressure. No pressure at all. Well, look, I'm going to actually probably have to wrap it up, because I'm not only, I've exercised, I've cooled down, and now I'm beginning to get that kind of slightly hypothermic, freezing cold feeling. So Zeno says, best to Lady Jane and Baz. Later, everyone. Thanks so much, Zenos. Appreciate it, as always. And thank you. Zenos won a bunch of stickers and has been kind enough to put the Tech Bandits on them. So that's going to be kind of cool. All right, Monica Lake says, thanks for the daily chat, David. Mr. Jed Eugen says, thanks for the stream. Pac-Man says, I have my buds in all the time. Tracy, the kid too quiet. I don't know what that means. I print parts that have accuracy. Oh, wow. but you sacrifice that to print faster. Yeah, no, it's definitely true. The smaller you print, the longer it takes for sure. All right, look. I don't think the problem is curing COVID, but stopping the spread. Well, it'd be nice to cure it. I'd say if we cure it, then it's less of a threat when people get it. It would be my silly thought on it. Okay, I am out of here. I'm freezing. Okay, everybody, look, thank you so much. If this is something you like, maybe I should do it again. You can't get more informal than me in a pair of shorts. Sweaty bee in a pair of shorts. So look, until we geek again. Okay, I gotta end it like my old, like my little things. My Bernalerns are usually done. So I would normally end it by saying, until we geek again, sweaty or not, cheerio. Thank you all very much. I'm now going to spend about 10 minutes trying to figure out how to turn this thing off because, as I say, it's on my kid's machine. So, yes. Later, kids. And please, be safe, be kind to each other, and, enjoy the Corona apocalypse as much as you can. Cheers. All right. Must I? All right. Cheerio, folks!